welcome to another exciting episode of Writing Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael, and with me tonight is an amazing guest who I know you all are going to love hearing about her stories and experiences and what she has to share. And so I am so excited to introduce to you all the one, the only, Natalie Olson.
Wow. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm so excited.
I'm excited
about
as well. I've been looking forward to this episode.
Yeah, look forward to seeing what all we're going to talk about today.
Yes, and thank you, Crossroads. My cousin did do a superb job for me. So
Mm.
thank you and love your work, cousin. Appreciate you so much. And so, Natalie, for the people who may not be totally aware and follow all of the areas of where we kind of seem to find ourselves in the world, can you give a little bit of background to who you are and what you do for them?
Okay. Um, I would say I am multiplexed because it's just not one thing, but foundationally, I am a naturopathic doctor. That's a doctor who just prescribes natural medicine, not prescription. That's the only difference. Um, since my what I call awakening, I have transferred and utilized some of my schooling and gifts more now in a more spiritual way. So that includes, um, oh goodness, let me think. That includes astronomical astrology. That's a weird word by itself. Astronomical astrology, pendulum alchemy. I love pendulums. Look, I got one right here. I love these little thingies.
Wow, that is really cool looking.
Gorgeous too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, pendulum alchemist. Um, I am a author of chaos. I love chaos magic. So today might get a little chaotic. That's a good thing, Michael.
Bring it. We all could use a little chaos.
And old school traditional oracle card reader. So I would say, and heliomancer.
Yeah, so full disclosures, I was asking her backstage before we started if what I thought that meant was what it meant, and she was like, yes. And so I am not going to steal the thunder of that from you. I will let you explain to everyone how that works and what that is.
Heliomancy is a form of divination that encompasses interpretation of the things of the sun. So, depending on if the sun is north, south, east, or west today, that might have a meaning for a person or in general. Um, a solar flare has an interpretation to it. So, basically, it's just using the position or everything about the sun, interpreting that in a way that will help us here on earth to live. So basically, that's what it is. I call it a sun prophet, basically.
So, how does one learn that skill? Because when I'm thinking about it, looking up in the sky, I couldn't tell you from this position in the sky if it's in the northern side or the southern side. So, how do you determine that?
Um, that's where we get into the astronomical astrology. Astronomical meaning astronomy. So, because of the astronomy, your phone automatically has 25 apps to locate everything in the cosmos. you know, everything. Also, two humongous telescopes right here beside me. So, solar binoculars, all that good kind of stuff. So that's where the astronomy comes in, pinpointing, down in detail where this planet is, where this star is. Same thing for the sun. So that's how I do it.
Okay, and I'm kind of curious a little bit to kind of wonder. So, like, if I was having a really high day and there was a solar flare that day, would you say that's what contributed to being in such a high way, or
I would
do
say
solar
so. That
flares? Okay.
or where the sun is located right now. Now, this isn't astrology, so I'm going to be different in what I say. Astrology right now says the sun is somewhere else. Astrology and pulling it up on a NASA scope would say it's in Leo. With Leo comes this power to be successful, to be acknowledged. It carries that kind of, so if you're waking up anytime over the next 25 days and you're feeling like, yeah, I got this, man, my show, I'm getting ideas, and you're feeling pumped about it, like, man, I'm thinking about this guest I'm gonna have on. When you get Hulk Hogan like, normally it would be like that. The sun, the lion in you is starting to, roar. And the sun always represents vitality, new life. That's what it means. So if that sun is beaming and then a solar flare, I call solar flare sun farts. If the sun is farting that day, some good smells is coming your way. So that's my slogan. If the sun farts today, some good stuff is flowing your way. There
I
it is.
love that.
Son. So,
I
oh
love
yeah,
that because my mom and I we watch the Schumann resonance and we find the solar flares affected, and so
oh yeah. It affects everything, and that's where I get into astronomical astrology, because we need to know how this is affecting us. So, Michael, were you aware a couple of weeks ago the Earth did a shift? And I'm not talking about that Lion Gate stuff. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago, we shifted into a new timeline.
no,
Did
I did not. I kind of sensed something was off, but I didn't put it together as being on a whole new timeline.
Yep. See what I mean? See? I mean, yeah, we did
Yeah.
a major. I wouldn't say it was the one that everybody's thinking, the big one where everybody's going to be all happy, happy. That's 2030, they say. I'm not talking about that one, but we do experience major shifts. And all of them aren't these humongous big events. Um, like today, there is a star cluster called Messier 5. Now, you see how this is in astrology. We're not talking about Taurus, Leo. We're going way past that kind of, now we're dealing with stuff that's on a star map. So, Messier 5 has a very strong energy. For some people, they may have experienced digestive issues today during that time that that particular star was shining bright. Um, so I try to help people by pinpointing what energies are being broadcast to us so that we can make the adjustments and to use it to heal ourselves too. So that's solar, that's
Yeah.
the astronomy part.
No, and that makes sense. And I gotta admit, I'm kind of laughing inside because as you were talking about the lion roaring and being in Leo, I was thinking we just had the Lion's Gate, and I was gonna ask you about that. And then you're like, and I'm not
Not have
talking
a
about
lion's
the
gate.
Lion's Gate.
No, no, no. We just crossed into Leo yesterday, day before, and the Lionsgate was days prior to that. So you
Right.
got to remember, astrology is still on the old system, based on the equinox and things like, where we are looking at the sun and every place where the sun hits, because That's going to happen regardless to how it shifts. We've added more constellations. We have a constellation now called Ophiuchus. I can't even say it. Ophiuchus. That's a new one. So everybody that's in the September, everything has changed. But if you didn't make that change, so we weren't in Leo. And everything that I was hearing about this Lion's Gate is tap into this energy because the sun, moon are all in Leo. And I'm like, no, they're not. The sun was still in Cancer, and it did not. Now, I'm not knocking that. Astrology is wonderful if that's where you're going to subscribe to. Nothing wrong with that. And as long as we have our intentions, it doesn't matter what it is. I could say today is the Lion's Gate. If me and you set that intention, then the energy is going to be there simply because of our intent. But that's the
Right.
difference between astronomy and astrology. So yeah.
Right. And I think also a way that they view it is 8-8 is deemed the Lion's Gate. It's like, so I think that's why they say what's still in this is because it's been attached to that date. There's a significance to that date for it for some reason. I'm
Like
not going to profess to know.
8 or some. I think it was the 8 dilly. Now that I could understand numerology wise, 8. Yes, and take it from that standpoint. But to go and say the energy is here because the sun is in Leo, I couldn't get with that part. Not at
Right.
all. You know.
Yeah.
So
And
111 2025, it's no, their numbers do mean something, but I would have stuck with the number versus doing it because you say the sun is there.
right.
um
And it's interesting because yeah, I've always heard someone go, it's 8-8, the Lion's Gate. It's like it almost rhymes. And so
uh-huh
it's like rolls off the tongue. But when you said, oh, the sun's in Leo, it's the Lion's Gate, I was like, I honestly, this is the first I've heard that. So I'm
Leo
glad you
belongs
shared that
yeah.
because that way people can understand, and determine with their own,
hmm
resonance when people say, oh, the Lion's Gate. And when they say, oh, because Leo in the sun, then they can say, well, wait a minute now. Natalie just said that wasn't
Go
this.
look, go
So
look.
do
Yeah.
I want to listen more to this person or where are they coming from? So yeah, so that's
Deal.
good to know.
Remember, all astrologers are just using the old system. That doesn't mean that they're inaccurate. It's just the system, because you got Vedic astrologers, you got all these different types, and they're not going to all match. So, I mean, good for
Right.
you, Lionsgate. I got the Mercury in inferior solar conjunction coming up next week. To me, that's way bigger than the Lion's Gate. People have no idea. As far as even concerning ghosts. Okay, Michael, let's go here. Did you know that certain um, events that carry certain energy makes the veil thin between both worlds?
Actually, I did.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good. When would those days be, Michael? We're swapping. I'm interviewing you now.
Well, my personal experience has been around close to the equinoxes, close to the solstices, and there are certain days like I don't know what it's called, but I know around the end of October is a really big one, and that's why we have what was known as All Hallows Eve, which became Halloween, and then there's All Saints Day and the Day of the Dead all together because it was
Mm-hmm.
like everybody had to get on board with talking about the veil here. But I also want to say, I think in the spring, around April-ish is another time when the veil is super thin and the energies can come through.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know from being on investigations, you can get activity around midnight to 3 a.m. in the morning, depending on which time zone you're in. I'm in Central Time, so for me, that's the 12 to 3 a.m. I'm talking about, where the activity seems to rev up and then it'll wane back down.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you're talking about it. I call it the blue hour. The most fertile fractal time is that right before the sun rises, right after night. So you got nighttime ending, but it hadn't brightened up yet. So before the sun comes up, while it's still, that is the most fertile in a sense time. But I love the fact of how even what's happening up there can have that type of effect, on us down here. So that's what I like about that whole deal. So
You
yeah.
know, and as many times as people have asked me, I have never contributed to what's up there. It's like I never put two and two together with that. So thank you for that. I'd never thought about that.
Hmm. Oh yeah. And with the high season that we're in, solar cycle 25, it's about to peak. It's about to peak. So yeah, good times for going into an abandoned house or something. October probably is going to be a wild month, very wild month. So
Well, lately, October, I've been spending being a volunteer actor in a haunted house. So that'll make it more fun.
wow.
And I have actually, because where the location we were was a haunted location,
Hmm.
I have actually been where it was a lull, meaning the people kind of had finished going through, but we weren't closed. So we were kind of like on break a little bit, and have heard voices. Like one night, I heard a little girl say, "Where's my mommy?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Where is she?" And I turn around and there's nobody there. And I'm like, "All right, it's going to be one of those nights." I don't have any equipment on me. So you guys are going to come out full force now because I can't document it. Thank you so much.
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah. So Crossroads Meets the Ocean Rose has a question for you when you mentioned about September changing.
Mhm.
She says, "What happens if people are in September but don't make the shift?"
Okay, you got two types of systems I'm talking about when I'm talking about. I'm not referring to the earth splitting, if you're fans of Dolores Cannon, or the 5D shift that is, to come. I wasn't talking about that one, but everybody shifts with the shift that I'm talking about. Let me tell you how simple a shift is. When we have an equinox, or yeah, let's say the spring one we just had, that is what I mean by a shift, the energy. Okay, let me go back. 2 weeks ago was a cross quarter day. That is a day in between. We're in the first quarter of the cosmic year, right? We've went through 1, 2, 3, 4 transits as of right now. So we're halfway between spring and fall. We're at that midpoint. When that cross quarter time happened, that's when the sun gets to, I believe, 123 degrees over the ecliptic. Now I'm talking nerd talk. Sorry. Let me help you. But when the sun gets to a certain spot, that's how we determine the new year, when it crosses over. So we just crossed over, and you got to test this out, Michael. The summertime, all this heat, all the rain, all this stuff comes to us because the earth needs it. We just went into get ready to go to sleep mode. Summer is energy, 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 energy. Boom, boom, boom. You're hype, you're busy, ideas are coming, coming, coming. 2 weeks ago, we just went into the okay, sit down and have some coffee. That's where we are. So by the time fall comes, have you noticed fall is all about being laid back, marshmallows, campfires, you're calming down, you're eating
Right.
more. At least I eat more. Okay, you're at home baking 4 pies. I know y'all don't do that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying everything kind of comes down. That energy just hit this earth. So a lot of people who were once very active may find themselves like, I don't even feel like doing nothing today because we just made that shift. That's what I mean by that shift. And it happens throughout the year. Some people feel it more than others, depending on, how sensitive you are. But we all go through it.
Right.
We're
And that
all
makes sense because there was a couple of days ago where I was like just coming off of doing a lot of things, and we were like, oh, we should do this, this, and this. And they're like, so what do you feel like doing? I was like, nothing.
hmm
I'm like, I'm content doing nothing today. I'm taking
Yeah.
a full day. No,
Yeah.
no, not, no.
hmm
And so, yeah, every once in a while, I'll be like, I feel the energy, like you're saying, of summer and being like, yeah, I got this to do. I got this to do. I got this to do. I want to get this done. I want to get this done. And then I'll hit
hmm
a point where I'm like, okay, I'm taking a day. Nothing. It's like, it's strange because it's like, I don't know why I don't feel like doing anything, but I just don't.
Don't. Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
it's good to know that it's not that it's
Well,
something
the
to do
deal
with the
is,
seasons.
you may not have ever decided to slow down. It's almost as if, not that we need to be puppets, but sometimes, can you imagine if nobody pushed the pause button on you? You would be
Oh, yeah.
going, 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 going at it, and you blew a gasket or something. So
Yeah.
that's the point. Our bodies are, our frequencies are resonant with the earth. We carry the same heartbeat, all of, as one. And if the earth needs time to rest, what we call winter, I think we need to be following what the earth is doing and kind of start to bring time to
Right.
chill out a little bit, time to start thinking about next year. If you're slowing down, that's a good time to start planning. What changes do I need to make? What did I notice while I was so busy? Maybe I don't like this person anymore. I think
Yeah.
this next round I'm gonna kick him to the curb. It's like it gives you a time to reflect and kind of fix things up from what you've discovered over the summer. So,
Right. And it's funny you say that because the other day I was talking with my mom and I was like, you know, I'm finding myself starting to think about what am I going to change in the intro and outro to the show, and if I'm going to change the background. She goes, why? It's so great. Leave it alone. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a new season. There's always something
mhm,
change. And I'm like, yeah. And so it's like I found myself already in that moment. And how I used to be in the past was, like you're saying, going, going, going. And then when the body would say, you need to rest, and I
mhm,
wasn't listening, I would start to get sick. And so it's like my body was forcing me to rest. And now I find myself going, okay, I've learned my lesson. When you say it's time to rest, I'm going to take the day.
mhm,
And if I end up doing one thing, that's not the end of the world. But for the majority of the day, I'm just vegging out and it's okay.
mhm. Yeah, that's the purpose. That's why the universe is created the way that it is, with the sun and the moon there. Yeah, to help us to slow down a little bit. If you hadn't have slowed down, then it would have snowed.
Right.
and you still would have been stuck in the house. Something would have happened, something would have kept you in the house and like that.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask a question kind of for my mom because it's something that I think that weighs on her mind that she's concerned about is lately every afternoon she finds herself, no matter what we do during the day, she ends up taking a nap for like an hour or two. Is that kind of what you're talking about with the energies are making you lulled and not wanting to do anything, and so it's not something to be concerned about, it's just riding the wave of what the planet's going through?
It just depends. I would say there is the physical where, yes, as we age, yeah, we do need to rest and recoup. That just comes along with, age, not necessarily meaning you're sick or anything like that. But yes, sometimes our bodies do need to recoup. And what's going on in the cosmos can have an effect. And that's when I talk about what's happening, it can have an effect for those who resonate with it. Like, not saying that your mom is a Leo, but I'm just saying if she were, then she may find a boost of energy right about now because she was born in that particular type of energy. If she was born, let's say she was born yesterday, she came into an energetic time when the sun is back in her home spot, then she's up and energetic.
Right.
But I would check to see where, what is her major, where I would start off and find out what exactly is she. In astrology, they call it a
Taurus.
birth chart. We don't do that on the astronomy side because it's all about the date and where the sun was. There's no houses, there is no K2 and karma. That does not exist in NASA. Okay, so it's where was the sun when she was born, and let's look at the energy that whatever was in place at that time, that's the energy that's going to be sustaining to her. Every time the moon comes in into wherever she, her point, um, her emotions, she may start to get emotional. But that's medical astrology. That's what it's all about. And then bringing balance to that. And it could be something as simple as like this. This is a diffuser blend of just particular oils that went with cancer. So, essential oils can tie into different planets. So, let's say again, uh, whatever it is affecting her, then there's probably something out there from meditation to learn how to balance that energy. And believe it or not, medically, this is where we're going. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but doctors and prescriptions, and I'm not bashing, but I'm just saying, some of this stuff just ain't working no more. It's
No.
just, it's not, it's causing more issues, but uh, you have alternative types, and the deal is I'm ready to see alternative go into the realms where I am, into the magic, into the you know different arenas that aren't traditional. Who'd have thought using magic as medicine? Does that make sense? No. Nobody's, you don't see any wiccas doing any rituals for a new hip. Well,
Although
maybe
that would be interesting.
they might be. That's
You're
the
like, let's dance
AARP.
that new hip in.
Yeah, the AARP hip. The Wiccans, they do it. But this is the types of things that I am starting to discover through heliomancy, through, you know, just magic, that we have the ability to heal ourselves. I know you've heard that. Everybody's heard that
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
but nobody really digs into it. And that's what I'm starting to, even down to people being affected in their bodies from being around ghosts. What you know about that, Michael?
I did. Attachments can cause a lot of issues, and not only attachments, but if you're being empathic and picking up and you take on what you're getting and thinking that it's yours, you have now created an issue in your body that was never yours, and you got to process and work your way through it. When if you had acknowledged in the beginning saying, wait a minute, this isn't mine, so therefore let it go, you could have saved yourself a lot of time.
Yeah, I used to work with people, and we used to title them lingering human spirits, meaning people who have died. They're no longer here, but you hear the word lingering. These people or spirits, to me, people, because they're just, spirit form, they would attach themselves to people. So let's say if this person had cancer, attach themselves to this particular person. Now this person has cancer. And seeing a lot of families that, loved ones are utilizing their bodies to live through, and the person is trying to figure out, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I acting like this? Where, and things like that, would happen,
Right.
or people would get sick after, an investigation, not knowing that that whole atmosphere can affect your nervous system.
Right.
you know, yeah, nobody, I'm all for pre-care and aftercare, but here we go. I'm not trying to medical the paranormal, but my deal is we got to start taking care of this afterwards. There should be debriefing mentally. You know, everybody should have the spiritual diarrhea when you finish an investigation. You know what I mean? Diarrhea,
Oh,
whatever it
yeah.
is that you picked up while you were there, it needs to come out, and it needs to come out fast. But nobody, and I'm talking about beyond just carrying crystals, and I mean literally knowing how to mentally, get this stuff out. But that's what I mean, the future of what I think medicine and psychology is going to be going into is like that.
And I think it's much needed. And you actually piqued my interest when you said about the oils
Hmm.
being to the signs. Is I find it very interesting. Like I can diffuse sage, and I'm Pisces, and I'm totally fine with it. I can smell sage oil, and I'm completely fine with it. If I burn a sage bundle, I start to like cough, and it's like I struggle to breathe, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on with this bundle? And I'm like, I do it real quick, and I keep it as far from my mouth as I can. But it's like it's strange to me that the bundle affects me, and I know I have bronchitis from smoke, but that's not the smoke. That's like different. It's like I'm not inhaling the bundle, so it's like I know that's different. But it's strange how the bundle, it's like I'm like, no, I don't like the smell of it. I don't like being around it.
I
But the
wonder,
essential oil, I'm okay with.
I wonder why. We should take a trip and go see why.
I'm all up for it. I
Yeah,
like
we
taking trips.
Yeah, astro trip and go to the time and date of when you started this whole coughing stage. You'll be surprised. It could be another past life. That's fun stuff right there. Like just, astro traveling, going back to find out, you know, things, why do I like talking to dead people, kind of, let's see where that all began. Then you discover when you was a kid, you didn't even know it, but you see, somebody came and talked to you when you were a kid. That's exciting to me. That's
Yeah.
like going and doing an investigation. So I guess I'm an investigator of people and their lives and their health. But I love that. That's kind of like what I do, the investigation. of what's going on
You
like
know,
that.
and that almost sounds like a healing modality that I learned growing up, timeline therapy.
Mm,
But
mhm,
I've never thought about using it to see why, like, a sage bundle would make me cough. It's like
mhm,
that
mhm.
never crossed my mind to even consider. But I'm like, yeah, but you were saying, like, why do I do this? Patterns. It's
Mhm.
like totally in my head to go, yeah, let's go do a timeline therapy and see where the root cause of this
Yep.
pattern is.
Yep.
But it's funny how the mind works to where it's like, yeah, these are the same things, but because I don't view it as a pattern, I don't view it and going, okay, yeah, let's go do this healing modality. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's knock it out.
Yes, knock that, fix it so you will never cough again. But that's going in, not just timeline, but going in. So I like to use a scenario where we go to the Galactic Hospital. It's on my Facebook timeline. But in astral travel, again, all we're doing is creating the hospital scene. And I've seen people get x-rays literally and are able, me and you, let's say me and you go in the Galactic Hospital, we'll use our imagination, go up there to actually look at your lungs. Again, if there was a polyp, cancer, anything, do you see how your higher self, your guide, God, Jesus, Buddha, Anunnaki, whoever the hell, all of them can come and tell you, you know, yeah, look right there. And then take that yellow brick road back in time to see. And once we got that, come back to the hospital, do the operation of what's needed to fix it. We call that psychic surgery. Fix it, and you walk out with brand new lungs.
I would totally be down for that.
I would say that's the future of where we all are. And it's we all can do this. That's the deal. Mike, you already got the timeline. You got it. It's just we all have this inside of us. We just never think about it, or we just don't go and do it. You got it.
Right.
Get up there and heal yourself and heal mom while you're at it. Bring her up there too. See what I mean?
Yeah. And it's interesting because we're taught the first rule of thumb for physicians is physician heal thyself. And we forget that thyself means yourself,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone else's self. And so for some
Mhm.
reason we're always go to default mode of, yes, I can heal you, I can help you. And when I say I can heal you, it's being a conduit for the
Yeah.
energies, not me personally. So
Mhm.
just want to correct that verbiage so people don't think I have this divine gift, which I have, but not like that. But
I want it. I want them. I want it. I want it. No.
but yeah, it's we have a hard time doing the work on ourselves and just going within and doing it. We always feel like we have to have somebody else to do it. And I get caught up in that sometimes is I'll
Yeah.
go and I'll be doing something and then I'll be like thinking, oh yeah, I should do this. Well, I don't have anyone to guide me. And so I'll talk myself out of it. And I'm like, why? Why did I do that?
And you always have someone to guide. I always say it's you and yourself. You created this world. You change it however you want to. And I can't wait for all of us to get to that same page, like you're just saying, where we heal ourselves, we everybody working together. It'll be a brand new world. And we're starting to change. You're starting to get it. I'm starting to get it. Everybody else will start to get it. And yeah, then we'll have some
Yeah.
good times.
So there's something else that you do that I want to ask you about. But before I go there, you mentioned a book, and so I feel like this is a good time to promotion time.
Yeah. I was at a crossroads, but I'm not anymore.
Oh, that was good. I like that. That was really good.
So let me tell you guys about this book. So I call this the Solar Almanac for Solar Cycle 25. What this book does, it takes you throughout the whole cosmic year, and it gives you every transit, everything that's happening, the date, the time, how it affects your body, how you can heal from it. And it's just like the farmer's almanac. You know, you go there to see if it's going to rain or snow or whatever. That's
Mhm.
exactly what this does. It tells you every comet, every celestial event that's happening and how it would affect you. And I'm happy. We've had 500 copies that people have read. I'm happy about that. I mean, it's not a stellar, but I'm just happy that people are starting to get interested in astronomical astrology. So I'm happy.
Yeah, and so a surprise that was stated for this show was, do you want to tell them what your surprise is, Natalie?
I'll say this and I'll let you take it from there. This book is going to someone right now in just a second. I want to mail this to you. You can give Michael all of your mailing information, and in the morning, whoever Michael chooses, I know he's at a crossroad right now, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can cross that road, because that ocean looks pretty wide. Uh,
Give him the information and I'll get this mailed out tomorrow. So, Michael, you got it right there.
yeah, so Natalie approached me in full transparency and said she wanted to offer a book to a viewer. And so Crossroads Meets the Ocean Rose. You are not only the main viewer that's asking a lot of great questions, but you are the viewer that we obviously have chosen because, being at the crossroads is the perfect time. And so let me know your information. I will pass it on to Natalie. And congratulations to you for tuning in and enjoying and participating. So thank you. And thank you to Natalie for coming up with this.
Cool.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program. So you had mentioned in your introduction you do pendulum alchemy. The alchemy part has piqued my interest because I get the pendulum work and everything, but how does the alchemy come in?
When we get spooky. Now, okay, let's go back to the oil. Remember this one? I said,
Yeah.
your mom. I'm gonna use your mom as an example. Okay, this is the sunrise, new beginnings. Guess okay. Then I have the pendulum. Alchemy, uh, paraphrasing here, is being able to use the elements of the earth or elements, period, manipulate them for change. Alchemy back in the old day would be people turning stuff into gold or silver or stuff like that. So
Right.
basically, it just means to turn something into something. That's the best way I can describe it for me. So let's say I have this oil, but your mom's knee is hurting from arthritis. Basically, alchemy says this doesn't make sense. This oil is not for arthritis. Alchemy says, yes, it can be. And I would say to the pendulum, as you see it still right now, add inflammation medicine to this oil. And then it will start to spin. And it's actually putting the energy, the what's needed for inflammation into the bottle. And I send this to her and she puts it on her knee. And guess what? The pain is going to dissipate. That's alchemy. Or if I want to make this coffee a bit stronger, like something from a different kind of ABC alphabet store for kids, it's no different. Alchemy means I can change anything. So again, maybe I have a headache and I don't have any medicine, but give me and that's alchemy with the pendulum, setting the intentions and using it to put on something. So how I do it is I make medicine for people, depending on whatever they're dealing with, where there's no side effects, or, because we're talking about energy medicine here, or to determine what kind of medicine somebody needs, or any of that. The whole point is to make a change with it. And that's what pendulum alchemy is all about.
So I'm kind of curious because, for example, where that oil was added inflammation to it, when it's done doing what it needs to do for the inflammation, does it cease that, or do you have to go in and say, okay, the medicine that was added for the alchemy now is released and let it go that way?
It stays, the inflammation piece of it stays in the oil. It doesn't dissipate or go. You're turning it into a medicine, which means that'll be labeled as an inflammation oil and put in the medicine cabinet until, unless something else starts hurting again. So no, it does not disappear.
Okay, my next question is, and I know this may sound redundant because we just made an oil that wasn't inflammation, but say you're doing the inflammation and also you get a headache, and you go, well, this inflammation oil is now also headache oil.
Headache oil, absolutely. You can
so
put intentions, yes. But again, the specific, meaning this, when I take this time, it's, and how I would say it is, as I take this oil and rub my head, it's going to, this inflammation oil is going to, but the deal is it's no different than me taking a piece of coffee right here and saying, when I put this on my temple or when I drink this sip, the headache is going to go away. And it will, because now we're getting into energy medicine and all of that. It's really about the intentions. And man, if we really could understand the power of intentions with what's going on. Now, Mike, I didn't share this one, but with this solar cycle 25, we're at the highest point. We're at a peak as far as what the sun does. It's amplifying healing and healing intentions like crazy. As long as the sun shines, the healing energy is going to always be there. But we're at a peak now. So I've been making medicine like crazy. I mean, if you could see my shit, if I could turn it around, I have a wall of things like this, but it doesn't matter what the object is. Think of alchemy. It's whatever. You have to believe that you are a creator. I'm not trying to do a new age teaching here, but this is where we're going. And if you're going to make it, you got to understand you are the doctor. You have the power in you to be like the Matrix and make the bullets drop. You are Neo. You are the chosen one. When you get that, you'll turn your coffee into COVID medicine. I better not say that too loud. You'll take lotion and, make a salve just off of your words. That's what our forefathers used to do, So
Right.
so it doesn't matter oil, water, and they've even scientifically proven that if you say I love you to water, it makes the thing, speaking even to water, can change it. So we are in a energy haven right now, season of where just energy, and you have it in you, Michael. You have it. You have everything you need for everyone around you. We just got to recognize who we are, and
Right.
that's what we're evolving to.
Right. And I want to reiterate something about this because I think it's something that's important, and it's important to note is the power of the belief and the doubt. So if I'm understanding correctly, is when you believe that it's going to work, it's going to work. So if you are doubting it, is it going to just take longer, or
Doubting
will it just
what
not
we
work at all?
call resistance. Okay, let me give you this one. Even the Bible says, whatsoever man thinketh, so is he. As you think it, I'll go back to Genesis 1:1. And God said, and so be it. If you say, I'm sick, so be it. If
Right.
you say, when I put this oil on my head, it's going to heal me, so be it. That's the law of the universe. We can go back scientifically and prove that your words carry a frequency. And the best way I sum it up is like this: what you say carries a frequency. Let's say it waves like this. You say, I am going to get popular. I'm just making up something. I'm going to get popular. That goes out of your mouth and into the universe. Everything that sounds like, it's like, I am popular, a YouTube deal. Bing, I am popular. More followers on Facebook. You see what I'm saying? You'll
Right.
attract everything that's at that level. And that's how the universe works, even in physics. So the deal is, like you were saying, if there is something you desire, all you have to do is vibrate at that level and everything else will come. Healing means my vibration is, I know this is going to happen. You have to have that confidence to be at that vibration. This headache is going to go away. Here is your tool. And when you think about it, when I put this on, this headache is going to go away because I am vibrating at, I got this. And
Right.
just like that. And that's how true healing or manifestation, really works.
Yeah. So I actually have an experience that kind of goes along with this where I think you'll find this really cool is I was on a transatlantic cruise in Spain, and I had recently had surgery on my leg. And so I was
Mhm.
told, don't fall on your leg under any circumstances. So I was like, all
Mhm.
right. So I'm being super careful. It's a rainy day, and I turn to enter the port terminal to enter the city. And lo and behold, the leg I had surgery on slips out under a piece of metal stripping that was across and landed right on it. And my first thought is to go into panic mode of, oh my God, I just fell on the leg I wasn't supposed to fall on. What did I do? Oh my God. And my parents come around the corner, see me on the ground, and they're like, what happened? I just fell on my leg. Oh my God. So they picked me up, and we go back onto the ship. And I'm like being very careful not to alert the cruise people, that I'm hurt because I don't want to be in their hospital if I don't
Mhm.
have to be, because I'm one of those type of people. But I'm laying on the couch in the room, and my mom goes, let me go get ice. I'm like, great, because that'll really help. And I close my eyes, and no sooner as I close my eyes, I hear this loud, booming voice. Who are you? And I'm like, I'm like, pause for a second, and it's like, who are you? And I go, well, I'm so and so. And I go,
Mhm.
well, I'm Michael Kopf. Who are you? And I realize something tricks in my brain, and I go, oh, well, I do Reiki healing. I do this, I do that. And he goes, what is your healing element? And I go, water. Where are you? In this booming voice. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of on the ocean right now, which is water. And all of a suddenly, I feel this energy just start surrounding me, fills up the
Wow.
body, and I
Yeah.
wait and I open my eyes up, and my mom is putting ice on my knee, and I'm like, thanks, but I really don't need it anymore. I've kind of just had this experience that kind of reset
Yeah.
everything, and I was like, for the longest time, it was like my mind would not go into the fact that I just healed myself. My mind was, who is this booming voice? Where did that come from? And then it was like, as I was writing recently about this for something, I realized, oh my God, that was my own self talking to me
Your higher self.
in a
That's
way
right.
that I would understand it. And
That's
sadly,
right.
it's taken me like 7 years to figure this out. But yeah, I mean, and that's why I say that I share that because it's like you were saying, is we can heal ourselves. We just had to
Mhm.
remember what we can
Right.
do.
That's
And it's
right.
like I had that moment.
And the fact of you can channel water energy. I mean, I'm just looking way at like, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You. Okay. Avatar, I'm waiting to see you do something like this, and the water comes.
I know. I get in the pool and I think about that sometimes. I'm like moving my arms around. I'm like, I wonder if I could water bend.
Mhm.
And I've done air bending actually in a way because I was standing by a fire, like a bonfire,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, and all of a suddenly I saw my hands go out in front of me and the smoke arcs over my face. So it's like I wasn't breathing in the smoke, and somebody actually caught a picture of it. And I
Wow.
wish I had kept a copy of that picture, but it was so cool to see the hands out and the smoke going up and over behind me and being like that. That was such a cool moment. And it's like, yeah, I feel like I must have been airbending right then and there.
Wow.
So I've done 2 out of 4, so I'm halfway
Mhm.
there.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
But I like to watch shows like, talking about Avatar, watching that cartoon and the movies.
Mhm.
It's like if you really watch it and see it for what it is and not just the effects of, yes, they're have water flying around or fire bouncing between their hands. If you look at it as the energy and seeing, these people, doing this, it's like I go, okay, so firebenders have more affinity towards heat energy.
Mhm.
So, okay, water benders are more healing energies. Air, is more floating and kind of overseeing, kind of watchful eye. And
Mhm.
it's like I started looking at it going, wait a minute. These are almost like the archetypes that we are. And when you get all 4 mastered, you then enter into the new state,
Yeah.
which they call the avatar state, and it's totally attainable. You don't have to be the incarnation of the avatar. It's kind of like the Matrix, like you were saying, Neo.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
all the Neo.
Mm-hmm.
We're all the avatars. Just for some reason, it's like everybody feels like they need one person to stand out,
Right.
show the way, and then go, okay, maybe I can do that, and start the catalyst for everyone to start embracing who they are.
That's what was supposed to happen. That was the original plan was supposed to have been like that, but somebody kind of interrupted the meeting. Two brothers maybe interrupted. So yeah.
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 So I wanted to go back and point out that Crossroads did say thank you, Natalie, for
Mhm.
the book, and thank you to me too. But yeah, I'll let you have it.
All right. Well, I will get that out tomorrow for sure.
But so what is next for Natalie? What are you got working on?
Um, I am going to begin getting out a little bit more socially on a week to week basis. I'm going to um, start coming on live and kind of just sharing, kind of like a little bit about what we're talking about today and doing some healing as well. So, specifically, trying to teach people about healing magic. That's my next phase. I mean, I know we got natural medicine and energy healing, but now I'm on the next that doesn't even exist as of right now, and that's healing magic. Now, nobody ever put those two. I mean, energy healing, everybody's in getting that now. That's we got that down pat. Now I am healing magic. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I'm
Healing.
kind of wondering, and I might actually blow your mind with this one, is when you're saying healing magic, are you talking about like what they're calling the quantum healing that's coming around? No?
Mm, mm, I would say it can go more because of the different types of magic, more than just quantum healing. I'm actually talking about rituals, spells, incantations, uh spiritually. What I mean, spiritual as far as magic, magic, in a sense.
Right.
Yes, like that. Prime example, I am the chaos one, so I love chaos magic. um with chaos magic, a servitor could be created, or a sigil. I like the servitors because they're like little mini me's that do whatever you kind of give them
Right.
instructions and timing to do. So the deal is, there are healing servitors. Let's say someone had stage 3 cancer. A servitor for that stage 3 cancer can be put on assignment to get that person to regression. Now I'm talking about same magic as any other witch or witchcraft would do, but just using it for healing. So um, it's amazing. Again, I'm trying to find ways where we don't have to take a pill, but actually we can use ourselves. Nobody needing help. Just do you, let the real you come
Yeah.
out and shine. And that's what I mean by it. It really allows you to heal you and takes
Yeah.
the man out of the way. So how I got into that, there's a gentleman. Let's see if you know this one. His name is, hold on, you ever seen this before?
I have seen that, Mark.
That is OCH. He Ak is tied to the sun. Ak would be the intelligence of the sun, the intelligent consciousness, meaning the smartness, the talking sun would be what Ak is. He was a doctor. He's a healer. He was an Olympian. He granted people 600 years of life, money, wealth, And he was an awesome healer. So I started channeling Ak for healing. And it has been amazing, amazing, amazing. So anytime I'm dealing with someone in the area of healing, I use Ak as a middleman in a sense. And you'll have a whole totally different type of energy. But with that, since it represents the sun, solar magic. So let's say again, mom has that hip pain. I would create a ritual based on the sun and Ak so that mom could get the healing by using magic, just like that.
So I'm kind of curious if when you're doing this, I know, we have to get permission on the level to work with someone, but I'm wondering, if somebody is like, say, being the skeptic and going, well, I'm trusting you can do this, but I don't really know if I fully, believe this is possible, but I'm going to trust you and
Mm-hmm.
go ahead. When you start doing it, are you going to, instead of saying, okay, this person is wavering, we're going to go ahead, do you go, hey, higher spirit or subconscious of this person, are you willing to accept this? And if it says yes, go forward, or do you just do it? And if you don't have any attachment to what happens on the other side of it?
None. That is not my. So let me explain how again. Um, let's say this is the session we're in right now. I would take the person using path work or visualization. And let me give you an example. I'm going to say, Michael, let's imagine a stairway going up into the galactic hospital. Run up the stairway. When you get to the top, we're going to go into the ER section. You see how I'm just painting the picture? The person is connecting because they are imagining. They are and remember, when you think, you make it happen. All I'm doing is setting up the atmosphere so that they can create what they want. I don't need permission for them to do what they are naturally born to do. So when we get in that hospital, I allow them to see the doctor, which is their higher self, you know, doing this. And basically, and of course, we set intentions before we start, but basically, it's them saying, I want my hip to be healed, and visualizing a doctor coming in, doing it, and like that. So basically, they just healed themselves. All I did was just create the atmosphere for them to be able to do it.
Right.
That,
And
that's it.
so I guess my question is for the people who say they can't visualize, they
Mhm.
they just don't have the ability to
To
do
get
it. How do you in turn help them? Because
I have had that happen where people cannot imagine, or it's too hard to concentrate and things like that. And yes, I have had several. So I can tell them we can either go a different way, or I turn it into a mindfulness meditation. And I like the mindfulness with a little bit of visualization. But with mindfulness, it's let's take 3 deep breaths and just think about the sun shining on your hip and allow the energy. Do you see that's effortless? Imagine. Just
yeah,
so, in a sense, now I've become the medium doing what they cannot do with my words. When they agree and hear me and listen, you know, and they're like, yeah, their imagination is going based on the words that I'm saying. So all I'm doing is putting the words to what they cannot visualize. And when they catch it, then they are visualizing. And if they're not, they can just lay there and just listen, to my words of the sun is shining, the healing energy of the sun is coming into your thought, just like that. So I leave it. It really depends where the person is. But I mean, I had only 1 or 2 people who could not And normally it's because there's some kind of something there that's blocking them. We can all imagine. So sometimes I like to test them. I say, hey, I'm throwing you a hat. Describe the hat for me. And they'll be like, it's a white kind of cowboy hat. So that lets me know you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's just the whole, you know, the only way you cannot imagine is if you're in a coma. So there is no, your brain is working. So there's a blockage. There's something there.
So
And that
I'm guessing the white cowboy hat person was either Texas or Montana.
absolutely Texas. Yes, always Texas. Yeah. So
I was like, yeah,
that's
that sounds like something we would say. Yeah, a hat. Yep, cowboy hat.
uh-huh. So yeah, that's a little bit of that. Or I do the ritual for them. They give me permission. And sometimes I don't even meet with people. Sometimes I call it distant healing. You just tell me what's wrong, and I go do the work. And I write up a report of everything, because I want to reassure them of what I did, what I saw, what, some ancestor, something came to talk to. So, I'll make sure I give a full detailed report of the healing. And we're still going up into the hospital, most people can visualize a hospital, like that. So I use that because that's simple to imagine. And
Right.
it's wonderful. I've
Yeah,
seen awesome results. Awesome.
and too, and the other thing is, that's the way hospitals were supposed to be,
Mhm.
not what they've become, and so that's like a cool way of going around back to the beginning and saying, okay, we're returning to where we were supposed to
Yes.
be, and
Yes.
so we're completing this cycle, so
Yes.
to speak.
Oh yeah.
So I'm kind of curious with all this that we've been talking about, and it just, I don't know why it just now popped in my head, but it did, is what was the event or catalyst for you to go, hey, if I'm looking at the sun, I'm noticing and this, and to put all of this together?
Okay. What was the catalyst? Hmm. Oh, you're not going to believe this. I went to the planetarium, the local planetarium, and you go sit in that dome and they play this movie. So lights out, I'm seeing the different planets and stuff, and it was just like, you just feel the connection. And I didn't understand it. But it was like I could feel every planet, and the words would start, like they would show Jupiter, and the little movie is telling about it, and da da da. I'm not hearing none of that. I'm in la la land somewhere. I'm looking at this thing. I'm feeling, what it feels like, and it's almost as if a resume is uploaded, and I know everything I need to know about Jupiter, the color of it, how it sits, what that does. And this is what it feels like. This is what it can do. I didn't know I was getting the download, for these, planets and stuff. And it's still kind of hard to understand. But yeah, that's what started it, is just the interest and energy, just, the power of our thoughts. And I thought that was nuts that we can think a thing and it'll actually happen. I'm like, man, if people really knew that, there'll be no Walmart. The lottery would be over. Cause I'm like, what's the lottery numbers? Can't get that one. But I'm just saying,
Oh yeah.
all that stuff. So that's what started it. Just feeling. And it's such an awesome feeling. And I love to share this feeling, but to be able to channel a particular, like the moon right now, the moon has its own vibration. And you can actually harness that into your body. I mean, move it around, play games with it, let it go out this hand and back up in this. I mean, just absorb it and have fun with it, but also use it to help someone else like that. And that's really what I do. But it's some awesome feelings to feel a planet or, just to let it vibrate in your body. It feels awesome.
Yeah, and it's interesting you talk about being in the planetarium and feeling the energies of the planets. Is I always, being my historian side, I know the planets were named after gods. And so I look at what culture the god is from,
Mm-hmm.
like Mars, god of war, according to the Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what were the Greeks looking at? And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't war, as in this is the planet where war happens.
Right.
This is the energy of war. And then I was like, well, what's another example where, like, if I was to try and explain this, I could use, and my mind goes to, and you'll have to forgive me for this, but it goes to TV shows or movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about right now, I was like, as you were talking, going, ooh, how could I convey how I saw it? And Doctor Who pops in my head and goes, look at the doctors. Every doctor was a different personality, a different energy of the individual. You had the happy, ecstatic, the broody, you had the war, you had the. And so I started thinking about it and going, if you overlay that over the planets, you now have the planet like the love energy, you have the anger energy, you have the peace energy, you have, and they're all the aspects of us. And the interesting thing is, there's nine. There were, and I'm sorry, I don't discount Pluto. I learned too long in elementary school through high school. Pluto was a planet, so I'm sorry, science. I'm not knocking it off the list. But with that being said, is like there's nine chakras, there's nine planets, there's nine, main personality elements that we have within us to express with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, we are universal. And it
Oh.
is right in front of us, but we have been so ingrained, we just don't see it. And it's like, and once you see it, it's like, God, I feel so stupid that I never saw this before. It's so obvious.
And then it taken it a step further. The planets represent the physical body, Aries, the head and brain. I mean, it goes from body part to body part, the full body through each major planet. So we are one body, one, you get it? Because it's like, yeah,
Right.
that actually does represent, and even the whole even spiritual side about the 12 and the constellations. I know you've heard of that one. Our Olympics just highlighted that one.
Not the way we would hope they would, but yeah, well, that was definitely a different, wow.
Okay, I'm breakdancing. No, I'm joking. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, those are the moments that I look at and go, God, no wonder humanity is struggling right now. When this is what we have to look at and say,
Right.
this is representative of the
Mhm.
best of our best. And it's like, oh, God, are we in trouble?
Oh no.
Uh,
Mm, mm, mm. Wow.
no, so I'm kind of curious now. you were saying like the book you have is for 2025. What drew you to say, "Hey, I need to make a book for next year to help people"? What was it in you? Were you getting a lot of requests, a lot of questions, or did you just get a feeling inside that said, "I need to write a book"? And so you just
Mhm.
wrote for next year.
Well, I was doing, and I still do this every week. I come and do a news forecast. I tell what's going to happen throughout the whole week so that you can be aware. If you start getting headaches and can't sleep, you might need to know what's going on up there that might be contributing to it. So I got tired of doing this every week, so I decided to kind of prep for my my shows by going through the whole year, looking at the map. And when I say tediously, minute by minute, pinpointing the moving of the sun, I'm talking about I used seconds and hours, frame by frame, seeing where the sun was and marking it, the times that it'll get here, and do other things like that. So it took me a few months, but um, that's what I like now. I don't have to go do the research. I've already done it. I know everything, every eclipse, everything that's going to happen throughout the year. And it's good because I like today going to see what's going on today because I'm not sleepy yet. And yeah, here we go. It'll tell me. Yeah. And down to the date and time of what's going to be happening. And that's why I did it, just to save time. And so that, again, I'm all about helping people not have to rely on me. I mean, I love it. I'll take money. But I'm just saying, I would love for people to get this for themselves and not necessarily have to book an appointment with me or, like that. So,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm going to ask a question that I feel like the skeptic in me is going to go, well, since you wrote it, how do you account for the free will that may cause the sun maybe to not do what you charted it out to do? So, how do you account for events that causes a shift like we were talking about earlier?
And see, that's not in the book because, again, the solar flares are not, we just had a big one today. That's not in the book because you can't predict. Again, no one knows when a fart is coming, it just comes.
Right.
So that's the deal. Yes, some things I, even though I have apps that notify me when a solar flare is happening, or so I do stay on top of when it does happen, and I'll try to report it and share, on Facebook and things like that. But if it happens at 2, 3 in the morning and I'm asleep, I miss it. I may be able to share later, but yeah, I can only, share. And that was the whole point of the book too, is so that I can focus on the immediate things that are happening versus stuff that I already know, is on the timeline is going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. Because it's like as soon as you said, yeah, I have it mapped out minute by minute, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Players, not not anything that just randomly happens. No, no,
Well,
no.
not only that, but I was thinking like, well, say you have in 10 minutes, the sun is going to shift two
Mhm.
degrees to the right. Well, if it goes 3 degrees to the left, what just happened? And so that's why I was like, how do you, it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
that would be NASA freaking out. Everybody, I'm just saying, yeah. Oh God, Elon be on. What did happen? Yeah, it'll if it's something major like that. Yeah. So that's when I would go to my NASA outlets, and I stay up like how people watch the news for the election. I am in it like that to see what has happened and transpired. Like nobody's talking about this supernova. There's a star that's going to burst any time now. and it's going to create new planets, new stars, new everything. That is significant spiritually. That means it's almost like the universe is giving birth. And to me, that's like hop on that energy to create whatever the heck new, you know. To me, I would ride that energy and for everything I want new. This is a new, it's birthing out something brand
Right.
new. The energy is going to shift us. I mean, and that's even scientifically. We're going to have a whole set of new stars. But do you see what I mean? Taking the natural scientific stuff and using it to better ourselves with. So we're talking about new
Right.
vision, new gifts, new everything when that does happen. And there is no way to predict that. I'll get a notification after it has burst, but everyone will be able to look in the sky and see that it has exploded. But what are you going to do with it? That's you just look
Yeah.
at it and be wow. Or do you go deep and use the energy for spells, incantations, for healing, for setting up your business? And you talking about planting in the earth. A new baby just came out. You see what I mean? It's just wow.
Right.
So yeah, using
Yeah.
it for your good.
And it's interesting to me that you're talking about, like, here now in this moment that energy is present, because I was always told in school the stars we see no longer are there because it took so long for the light to come here. So
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, when you say, "Oh, something went supernova and we're having this happen," I'm like, my mind goes, "Oh, so how many years ago did that happen?"
And now that is correct. Now that on that piece, yes, we are seeing the after effects years, couple of thousand years later. That's how long it does take, for us to see it. But on the more immediate things like a solar flare, let me just give you an example. The potent energy of that flare lasts up to 3 days. If a flare hit right now, of course, the first couple of hours are the strongest because the thing you know, just did that. But
Yeah.
you have at least 2 to 3 days where that energy is lingering and you can tap into it. Like for me, I like to harness it and put it in medicine so that I'll always have it, so that it'll, whatever that energy was for, or
Right.
whatever it emits, I try to grab it, put it in a bottle so that if I need it to heal based on whatever it does, it'll always be there.
Yeah. So I kind of have a hypothetical question for you that pops in my mind, is like, I'm one of those people and I don't know what to call it, but when someone says to me, "Oh, you're lacking in, say, iron," I will put my hand out and like just feel myself absorbing the essence of iron. I don't have to have iron in my hand, and I feel much better. And they're like, "Yeah, it works for me."
Mm-hmm.
So my question becomes, so right now, say I get up in the morning and I forget that the energy, like you were saying, the flare, if it happened tonight, forget
Mm-hmm.
about it. And the time passes, and I'm like, "Ooh, I could really use the energy of that flare right now." Can you recreate it and pull it in, or do you have to wait for the next one?
Hmm. I would say both because it's really all about your intentions. I'm just saying. I mean, honestly, it to me, particular times and dates are just limiting. So even when there was the biggest flare we just had, and everybody saw the pink clouds and stuff. Remember that everywhere? Was that
Right.
last year? Maybe that energy to me I still should be able to tap into because now we're going to get into parallel realities. I'll go there with you. So the deal is, it's still here in some place in time. If you understand, those who understand me about different realities, how we're not just here, we're in
Right.
multiple different places. So with that being said, if everything is, and I'm, you know, everything, nothing ever dies, nothing ever, you get it. So the deal is, to me, that energy is still available. The same energy from the blast that killed the dinosaurs, if that's true, I still should be able to, again, that's
Oh,
what you got timelines for. I'm just saying, if timeline is ever, forever, ever loop, then somewhere that thing still does exist and you should be able to pull, from it. If we're going to be practical, then you got the 3-day time frame as far as the strength of, I mean, if we're going to go scientific or spiritually scientific in a sense, you got about 3 days as far as the strength. And they do measure, there are measurements where you can see how much is gone in the atmosphere, because once, if it's big, it's called a geomagnetic storm. And that's when your cell phones go dead. So again, it just depends. We can do this from a spiritual level, and it doesn't matter what time of the day is. The energy, the sun is shining, energy is energy, and energy doesn't die or go away. Or you can be more specific and, follow the system of, you got this enough amount of time and blah, blah, blah. So I would say both of them.
Okay. And the other question I have for you, and I don't know if you can answer this because I'm not sure if it falls in the purview of what you study, though, is I've been seeing reports like in California now, they can see the aurora borealis. And here in Texas, I look every night and we don't see it. And it's like we're in the same latitude line as California. So why did they see it and we don't? And it's like, it kind of is interesting to me because it's like, that is nature. So it can't be that California is saying, oh, we're calling in the aurora and so it's visible here. And Texas is like, we're calling it in, but apparently we don't believe because it's not here.
It's not going back scientific, like South Carolina, I'm down there at the bottom too, heading towards down on the bottom end of the states, kind of like that. So depending on, you got G storm 1 through 5. The only way for me to see it where it comes all the way down towards us, no matter where you are, is we have to be at that highest G6 like we were a couple of months ago. And that's just how it is, how it just hover. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it, is it only goes so far. It only pretty much stays up there in the Canada. It really stays way up at the tip top. But depending on, remember I said, the stronger the fart, the more, that's you're going to see it. So it has to be a strong one to get all the way. But they do happen. And I'm sure we're going to see more because we're at the maximum. We ain't even seen nothing really, I don't believe, yet. So this year we got until October. But I think we're still going to see some stuff.
Yeah, the only thing is I wish the energy of the sun could be shared without the boisterous 100+ degree heat that comes with it. It's like, really? And so, like, when you say until October, it's like, I was sitting in the back of my mind going, oh, God, please tell me we are not going to be in 100+ degree weather until October.
It's starting to cool down here, though, but it's still hot. But I can imagine Texas is like dry. The only thing I can do in Texas is barbecue. That's about all. I mean, as far as it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hot enough to where we don't even have to light our grills. We could barbecue on the sidewalk.
Oh my goodness. Mm.
Hey, I had to try. I had to try to use one of those old criticisms.
Wow.
No, but it's getting late here, so I want to thank you for your time and thank you for a fun and enjoyable show and trusting me to come on to my show.
This is fun. This is I'm just looking like, what is that in your background? Okay, anyway, yes, this has been very fun, very enjoyable. And
So,
thank you.
so my background is a door in the middle of the woods, and it's like the dark woods, and it's a door opening to the light. So it's like the light in the darkness kind of metaphor.
Mm. Let's see you walk through it. Go on. Go.
I've tried a couple of times. I've even gone as far as to go like, look, I can put my hand through.
Oh man.
No, it has been so much fun. And with that being said, I would like to ask one proverbial question from you. And that is, from everything you've learned in your life and everything, what is a golden nugget you would love to leave everyone who watches this show with?
The golden nugget is that you are able. 3 words. You are able.
I like that.
Yeah, you are. And that's anything you want to put behind that.
I don't
You
even
are.
think you need to even think about what's after that.
It's just you are
Yeah,
able. That's
you
just
are able. It's like
no
no
matter
matter
what.
what you thinking, it's
Right.
you are able.
That is correct.
I love it.
Mhm.
So with that, I am going to say good night, good morning, good afternoon, sweet dreams wherever you are in the world. Make it a day filled with love and fill yourself with love. And as Natalie pointed out, when you're thinking about where you're going to go and thinking about all the things going on in the world, just remember you are able.
Yeah. Mhm.
I feel like that says it all right there.
That's good.
I like that. We need to put that on a t-shirt.
Hmm. You remember that next time that voice says, "Who are you?" I
Yeah.
am Abel, not Cain.
Yeah.
Abel.
I was just going to say, when you said I am able, go, yeah, make sure you hear Abel, not Cain. I don't want that mark. Like, I'm not looking for that mark. I'm looking for the other one.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who watched. And thank you to Crossroads for chiming in and sharing with us. And speaking of which, Crossroads says, thank you guys for an incredible show and your book.
Mhm. Good, good.
And yes, don't forget to send me that info so I can get it to Natalie. And with that being said, we are saying good night and have a blessed journey.